TSA, what is going on? Great Tuesday. Happy to be here. A lot to discuss, right? One thing about sports, what makes it great is that just when you think it's a dead cycle, just give it 24 hours and something else is going to happen, right? It never fails. Oh, I see Mac is on time tonight. Look at that. Go ahead on and send that request, Mac, and we'll go ahead on and get you in here and get rolling. All right. I just need you to request to come on, Mac, and I will definitely get you added there, brother. Man, it's a good time of the year. College football, NFL. I'm watching some NBA preseason. A lot of good stuff going on. Getting into the meat of it with the fantasy football season, with the bye weeks about to start. Those ain't never fun. So how do y'all draft? Do you draft with bye weeks in mind, or do you just draft and say, to hell with it, I'm just going to draft the best players, I'm sticking to my draft board, and I'll figure the bye weeks out as I get to them? Couple ways you can look at that. Won't let me request. Oh, come on, Mac. What you doing out there? You the tech guy. You should be able to figure this out. Me personally, in the past, I've sort of drafted with an eye toward the bye weeks. And I would move players around depending on, well, man, I already got this running back, and his bye week is week 8, even though this receiver is rated high on my board. His is 8, so I'm going to drop down and take this guy because his was 9 this year. I said to hell with that. I'm just going best player available and let the chips fall where they may. Don't look too bad. I'm missing a couple guys this week, but I'm sure a lot of people are. Damn, that Lamar Jackson, boy, he showed out last night, didn't he? That was a hell of a fantasy game. I had a basketball game. Halftime, it was a dud. And I'm like, oh man, Indianapolis might pull this one out. I was up on Dave by about 30 points, but he had Hollywood Brown in action going, so I already knew I was dead going into it unless one of them got hurt. You don't want to wish injury on nobody. But once that thing opened up, I looked back down at my phone. I was like, what the hell happened? Looked like old Action Jackson went crazy on him. All right, let me see if I can get you in now, Mac. Hey, what's going on, Mac? I can't see you at all, brother. There we go. There we go. Hey man, I'm gonna need you and that Braves hat to figure this out.
Hey man, first of all, that shit didn't even give me an option to request it till about a couple of minutes in, so it's all good, man. But
You didn't put that hat on until Freeman hit that home run.
that's you already know that's a lie. So I was planning on wearing this. Hey, I was planning on wearing my damn my Blackhawks hat tonight because obviously hockey's back. Hey, we've already talked about this before, man. Obviously Georgia growing up, man. We didn't really have no hockey team, so I think I started watching hockey around like 94, 95 time frame. And obviously, man, we didn't have no team, so I like the Blackhawks just because of their jersey. You know what I'm saying? I like the logo. So, I go back to the Chris Chelios, Ed Bell 4 days. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I got it upstairs, but I was like, man, if I put that on, people gonna be hating on me and everything like that. So I was like, I might as well go with I'll just go with the old A tonight, and hopefully my man Will Smith don't blow this game like he's known to trick off a couple. So, you know how that goes.
So, I hope to look back up that Will Smith has tricked this game off. This week off game, I do not care. So let's jump into it. I believe
All right.
last week, was I first up with the questions, or were you first up?
No, it was you last week. So, like I say, man, we can do it however, man. I'm flexible. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you go ahead on and you go with your first one. I tell you what, we'll alternate. How
Okay.
about
No, that's good, man. So obviously, man, I heard you talking about NFL when I was trying to kind of figure out my tech stuff going on over there, man. So the first question is going to be is there reason for concern in Kansas City? And what's to blame right now? Is it the turnovers? Is it the defense, or is it a combo of both?
I think it's a combo. First of all, to get to answer your first question, is there concern? Yeah, whenever you 2-3 in the last place and the Bears got a better record than you right now, yeah, you concerned. Because you are 2-3 in last place. Make no mistake about it. Now, Denver most likely is going to come back to the pack. The Raiders, with everything they got going on, I think they're definitely going to come back to the pack. But yeah, this isn't one of those, oh, we're okay here moments. I'm
Okay.
sure in Arrowhead headquarters, there's a lot of, anxiety right now. We got Washington coming up this week. It's the NFL, so you never know what you're going to get, right? We saw New England
Absolutely.
take Tampa Bay into the deep water. They should be okay against Washington, but that's why we play the game. As far as reasoning, I saw a stat where I believe Kansas City's defense is giving up 7 yards to play, right? That's horrible. The NFL teams that's up 10 to 14 points win over 80% of the games. So what's happening is you're seeing the Chiefs with the turnovers. They seem to always be playing behind. They get behind. Once that happens, they become one-dimensional. You become one-dimensional, now you're in trouble. And everybody seems to be emulating the Tampa Bay's sort of blueprint from the Super Bowl. We're going to rush forward. We're going to keep our safeties back. We're going to beat up Kelsey, and good luck. Because Tyreek Hill, let's talk about him for a second, because that guy gets a lot of hype, and I like Tyreek. We all like watching him, run and do stuff. But I think he's one of the more overrated receivers in the NFL, honestly, because he only runs a couple routes. He's like the best version of Deshaun Jackson to me.
I was gonna call him a brother Wes Welker, you know what I'm saying? Because he's just kind of running little slot routes and things like that, and he's quick, so he can make some guys miss. But he ain't scaring me deep, you know what I'm saying? I know he ain't running, he ain't no Randy Moss running no go routes, right? And he gonna beat me like that.
He's fast as hell, but if you can stay on the top of him, his route tree seems to be very limited. And sometimes I think that hurts him. So yes, there's definitely cause for concern in Chief land. And right now, I would say 60-40 defense and turnovers is the cause of that. As opposed to the offense. If I had to put a percentage on it right now, that's
Okay.
where I'm going with that. But yeah,
I got you.
Hey, 2-3. And also, one little note before my time is up, they've also lost to San Diego and Baltimore, right? So and Buffalo. And Buffalo. So you've already lost tiebreakers to 3 very good teams.
Yep.
Which is something else to think about. All right, here
Absolutely.
you
go. All right.
I'm going to jump to the NBA for a second.
Okay.
My guy, Kyrie Irving.
Okay.
Right? The Nets basically sent him home.
Yep.
So do you agree with the Nets decision? And if so, why? And would you look to possibly trade him?
So that's obviously a 2-part question. I agree with what New Jersey did, obviously, because you don't want to because you obviously know from coaching, man, it's all about chemistry. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be on again, off again, going in, day out, right? So I see what they're doing with that, because obviously they want to build chemistry. And we saw last year that, he obviously took them games off, and I think they kind of struggled when he was out for the most, what I'm saying? Not, I won't say struggle, but you know what I'm saying? Like the chemistry wasn't there when he came back. So I agree with what they did on that aspect of it. And, again, man, that's his decision. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hate on the man for doing that. Obviously, he knows the ramifications for it. But if I'm New Jersey, I'm definitely trying to trade him and get some value back for him. Now, again, just based off of his decisions, that's kind of limiting his the trade partners that Brooklyn's going to have. But it's going to be, I still believe that they're going to try to trade him. And I genuinely believe at some point maybe he's going to come around, because, I think he wants to play basketball, maybe, or maybe he wants to go out and, fall off the edge of the earth, or whatever the case may be, man. So I think eventually he's going to come around. And if not, I wouldn't be shocked if he got dealt at the deadline this year.
Do you think KD is sign off on that, seeing as how close they are?
I don't think KD per se signed off on it. I think he was brought into the decision piece of it. You know what I'm saying? And they valued his opinion. But I think at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, I think KD wants to win a championship, and I believe that, you know, he's probably going to be one of the guys that's in Kyrie's ear. You know what I'm saying, along the way, like, hey, bro, you need to go ahead and get this vaccine so we can get this thing started. Yeah, there we go. My bad. We just closed them boys out, so it's all good. But you know what I'm saying?
The failure's coming. It's right around the corner.
Oh, hey, man, you know, like I say, man, I'm just, you know, I'm a glutton for punishment. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, man, I think KD was a part of the decision making. He didn't sign off on 100%, but I think he's gonna be in Kyrie's ear. And I think along the way, he's either gonna get the vaccine before the deadline, or he probably gonna get dealt before the deadline. If I had to guess.
You know, there was a story that came out about an hour ago I was reading on Yahoo, and it basically said that Kyrie is an anti-vaccine, but he doesn't like that the vaccine mandate has cost people jobs. And I'm thinking to myself, you're sort of contradicting yourself. And if people don't take the vaccine, then yes, they're going to lose their job. But just think what the pandemic has done to the job search. I mean, the job community versus the pandemic. You know,
Yep.
I mean, if you think about that, a lot of business has gone under because of this pandemic.
Yep.
You know, the pandemic has killed a lot of mom and pop stores, and only, you know, your bigger brands were able to survive.
Yep.
So I think is typical Kyrie, he's missing the point, which with him is very, very typical.
And, you know, like I say, one last little thing on that is, you know, and at the end of the day, Kyrie ain't hurting. You know what I'm saying? So with him not getting checks, you know, ain't nobody losing no sleep because Kyrie ain't getting his 30 mil or whatever he's scheduled to make this year. So he ain't hurting like a lot of other folks out here, you know what I'm saying, going in with that. So you know, it is what it is. But hey, it's kind of good that you jumped into that, which kind of leads into my question, which again is dealing with, you know, talking about Kyrie. So with that, with all of that we just said, are the Nets still the favorites to make the finals and or win a championship this year as it stands right now?
Well, now if you look at the firepower they got on that team, whenever you got KD, right, you got a true superstar,
Yep.
right? Not many of those guys around. Now you got James Harden, who always seems to fold up in the playoffs, but him and KD play good together. If you look at what the Nets have put together with bringing back Blake Griffin, adding LaMarcus Aldridge to the mix, adding Paul Millsap to the mix, the Johnson guy, Patty Mills, Joe Harris, who couldn't shoot when the pressure was on, I still think they would be the favorites. Because I think in Philadelphia, what's going to happen is, I know we're going to talk about Ben Simmons a little bit later, so I'm not going to get too deep into it. But eventually, Ben Simmons is going to get traded. And I think that team has sort of peaked. I just don't think that's a championship team. Now you have to always go to the champs, right? Because sooner or later, you're going to have to beat the champs. They're a very good team. But KD was a half an inch toe long last year sending it home, right?
Yep.
So with the Nets fully loaded and Milwaukee fully loaded, as of now, I'm still gonna have to give the edge to the Nets to come out of the East. And those are the only teams I see. Three teams I see legitimately that have a chance to come out the East. You got other stories like, you know, your Atlanta Hawks, who made a very nice run last year. You know, people talk about the Knicks, things like that. I really think the Bulls are going to be a much improved team. You got Charlotte, they're young. You have Boston. You know, are they ever going to sort of like click? Like everybody's for Boston to click, like, okay, they're finally getting it together.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's those three teams, and I would put Philly third, and I would put the Nets in Milwaukee at the top. And I think the Nets are going to be the hungrier and the more motivated team throughout the regular season because they couldn't have Kyrie around. You're right, chemistry. You can't have one guy doing his own thing.
You know, as a coach, I can't tell you, William, I need you to run these sprints. I need you to run these suicides, play, buy in, all this, and we go on the road. Oh, Matt, I need you to sit down because, you know, Kyrie can play because we're on the road. He just ain't going to play because he at home. You know, Kyrie to me is a guy that isn't as smart as he thinks he is and really just needs to get out of his own damn way sometimes.
I got you. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, when it comes down to Milwaukee and Brooklyn, like you said, man, I think that you're gonna see two superstars go at it again, and I just don't see Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, you know what I'm saying, hitting them same shots they were hitting last year. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, KD was, you know, a toenail away from obviously sending those guys home, man. But at the end of the day, man, I think it's still going to be Greek out there, man. And if he's, you know, developed any sort of a, you know, 10 to 12 foot shot, man, there's going to be some problems for those guys inside because we saw it last year, man. Blake couldn't hold that dude. DeAndre Jordan couldn't hold him. Nobody can hold that guy on the inside when he's playing to his potential. So it should make for a good season. But again, I'm with you. I see those two teams being 1-2 when the playoffs start.
All right. This next question was sort of inspired by a comment that Alan Alexander made. One of his 10 things that he thought or whatever, sort of wrapping up the weekend. And he mentioned 3 quarterbacks. So I want you to rank these 3 quarterbacks. Obviously not based on what they've accomplished, but just talent-wise, and sort of explain why you're going to rank them where they are. These 3 young guns, Pat Mahomes, Allen, and Justin Herbert. Rank those 3.
All right. I mean, I'll go ahead and say that Hebert's he's number 3 for me. You know what I'm saying? Just he's the youngest guy out there, so he's number 3 for me. 1 and 2, I mean, you can go either way. You know, somebody gonna critique you if you go one way, and somebody gonna like you if you go the other way. So right now, just based off of play this year, I'm gonna take Josh Allen, and then I'm gonna take Patty Mahomes because Josh Allen, I mean, the Bills are playing good football right now, man. You know, they're not turning the ball over. They went out to Kansas City 2 nights ago and gave it to them boys. You know what I'm saying? Josh Allen out there hurdling people. You know what I'm saying? So like I say, my rank right now would be Allen, Patty Mahomes, and then Hebert in that order. I still think that Kansas City has the more talented team across the board. Buffalo has the better defense, obviously, as we've seen. And San Diego is right there. It's like we talked about, I think, in the group last week. I think, you know, is it finally starting to click for Mike Williams? Because they got a squad, man. You know, Eckler back there, you know, doing his thing. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen doing whatever, Jared Cook. And then the defense, you know what I'm saying? People don't like it, man, but I like Bosa, man. That dude, he just gets after the quarterback, man. You know, he makes some bad decisions. And then you got Derwin James on the backside there doing Mahomes and then Hebert. And obviously that could change 2 days from, you know, 2 weeks from now or whatever. But right now, based off of play this year, protecting the football, going on the road, you know, exercising demons or whatever you want to call it. Now, granted, you know, this could all change in the playoffs if they play again and Mahomes beats them again and we're all, you know, back at square one of like, you know, regular season wins don't really mean nothing. But that's the rank that I'm taking those 3 guys right now.
I can't push back on that at all. I was thinking about that earlier, and I will put Herbert last. Man, amazing how, you know, when he was coming out of college, she was like, we don't want him. Just think Miami. Just think if Miami takes him instead of Tua. Trust me, being a Bears fan, I know what it's like when you take the wrong quarterback, and it really can't take the franchise back, you know, 4 to 5 years. It's just that serious. Yeah, Allen and Buffalo, they are playing at a better level right now than Pat. So I can't disagree with anything you said.
And, you know, like I said, if we got a couple of seconds left in this segment, man, I mean, hell, I think Alan brought it up, or you said it as well. Cincinnati right now is what Miami should be after they tricked away all those draft picks, man. You know, I think they're gonna look back and say, man, we probably should have made the deal for the massage therapist. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he plays, maybe he doesn't. But I think obviously Tua has shown, even since he's been in college, man, he's got durability issues, man, and it's rearing its ugly head again. And Waddle's out there doing all right, but I mean, just think if they would have a guy like Jamar Chase or somebody like that who's finally able to catch the football out there,
Right.
and just kind of moving around out there, man, or even adding some more defense. A guy like a Micah Parsons or somebody like that can just get after the quarterback, man. So. You never know, man. What could have been.
Exactly. Okay, here we go. College football time.
Okay.
House. Alabama got shocked down in Aggie land. Didn't quite see that coming. Alabama's defense does not look like the Alabama defense of old.
Nope.
So my question to you now is, do they lose another game and miss the college football playoffs?
I mean, just to kind of go back. I mean, we've kind of seen it for the last couple of weeks, especially when they played Florida as well. Man, they're not as tough in the trenches as they have been. That we're used to seeing with an Alabama team. So something like this was expected. I mean, before the season, Texas A&M was expected to challenge them for the SEC West. Now, obviously, that kind of went downhill when they lost to Arkansas and Mississippi State prior to that. But, it is what it is. But to your point, they will lose. I believe they'll lose another game. It's either going to be they're either going to lose a game they probably shouldn't lose, whether it's to Arkansas for whatever reason, because those guys, they can be tough as well. And then Auburn could beat them. I'm not saying they will because we just swacked them the other day, but it's a rivalry game. It's going to be at Auburn. It's a tough place to play. So I could see them losing either one of those games. And then obviously, man, if Georgia continues to play like we play, man, I think this is the year that we finally exercise the demons in Atlanta with Kirby Smart beating Alabama. Now, with all that being said, if they lose in the SEC championship game to Georgia with 2 losses, there's an outside chance that they still get in. A lot of things got to happen. Hear me out now. I'm saying a lot of things got to happen. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking Cincinnati's got to lose. Big Ten's going to have multiple losses. Oregon, Oklahoma. I'm saying a lot of things are going to have to happen because at the end of the day, we know it's all about money. You know what I'm saying? And who travels and who brings the most money. It's like I told Rob Vogel, man, I'm glad to see some parity. You know what I'm saying? Kind of some new blood kind of coming into the playoff right now, which again, these rankings right now mean nothing. So people all up in arms about, Alabama being 5 and Iowa being 2 and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter, man. Like none of these rankings right here matter. So again, some catastrophic things have to happen if Alabama has a second loss in a close game to Georgia in Atlanta, man. But I mean, like I said, there's gonna have to be some like 2007 type last week, people losing games that they ain't got no business losing for that to happen. But I can still see them right now. They could possibly lose to either Arkansas or Auburn, just because I think both of those games are going to be on the road. And Auburn is just a tough place to play, man. I don't know if you watched the game the other day, man, but them guys was loud. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were just loud, and it's a tough place to play, man. I mean, even if you go back to 2017 when Auburn kind of went on that little magic run, when they blew us out in Auburn, and then obviously they beat Alabama there as well, man. It's just a tough place to play, man. And Allen, he'll tell you about it, man, and any other Auburn fan. If you've ever been there, man, it's a good place to go. It's a shit city. You know what I'm saying? Crappy college, but it's an amazing atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, I could see them losing to one of those guys, but definitely if Georgia continues to play like they will, we will exercise them demons in Atlanta.
All right, you're up.
All right, so obviously, man, this kind of plays into doing a little late night baseball playoffs, man. So we got 75% of the championship series matchups, ready with Atlanta, waiting to see who's going to win this series, and then a team I can't stand, the Boston Red Sox, man. I just don't like the city at all, man. Their fans are probably one of the most annoying fan bases that I know of. Them, and then obviously Houston. So with that, man, like, those matchups, and who do you think is going to win those matchups, and what team and or player / manager has the most to prove in a championship series right now?
Easily the Dodgers. That's the Dodgers, because if they lose, Dave Roberts is going to get fired. Plain and simple. After winning the World Series last year, I think he's still going to get canned. He'll be gone. If you look at that lineup, I mean, it's an all-star team when you look at them. I know the other night I was 1-0, and I was like, okay, how the hell does that even happen to y'all? Even though they lost Bauer, Washington just sort of helped them out, and hey, we'll give you Scherzer and Trey Turner.
Yeah.
Here, take this for your championship run, which I do not understand why the hell they did that. You can't tell me there wasn't other teams that have adequate prospects as well.
That were offering it up.
I just can't help anybody win.
Yep.
So with that being said, definitely the pressure is on those guys. Boston is sort of playing with house money. Atlanta's really playing with house money considering Acuna's hurt.
Yep.
So everything that they're doing right now is gravy.
Yep.
So just to go a little bit extra, they have the least amount of pressure of anyone. Houston, I would say, is second simply because of the cheating scandal. And now, can you win a World Series without people banging on trash cans? So they're facing a certain amount of pressure. Also, Carlos Correa's in the contract year. You know, Zach Greinke looks like he's on his way out. And I still can't believe we lost to them 3-1, and we couldn't get a pitcher to get past the third inning. I could do a whole segment on the White Sox because we really got to retool that thing. So to rank, get back to the original question, the amount of pressure, I'll go Dodgers, Astros, Boston, and then coming in Atlanta. And I hate Boston as well. I think Houston will beat Boston. And I think the Giants will beat the Braves, and that will be the World Series, the Giants versus the Astros.
I think we match up better with the Giants than we do the Dodgers. And kind of going back to your point, I mean, with Dave Roberts, if you look back at it, man, he's a Brian Snickner mismanagement of a bullpen from losing 4-1 last year. You know what I'm saying? Or, obviously we had an epic collapse in those last 3 games, and then Tampa just didn't really put up much of a fight last year. So I agree with you. The Dodgers, like you said, man, the Braves, man, I kind of gave up on the season when Acuna got hurt. I wanted us to trade all the good players we had off minus Freeman and Albies and kind of retool for the off season for when he would come back and then make a run. But I'm going to kind of say the Dodgers are or not the Dodgers, but the Astros are right up in there, like you said, just with the cheating scandal. And obviously, can Dusty Baker get over that hump? You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I think he's been to 2, and I think he's lost both of them. So, yes. I mean, can he finally get over the hump? Because you saw it in Chicago, you saw it in San Francisco. He'll run pitches into the ground, man. I just don't see them making that run. So, especially against a team like the Dodgers or the Giants, that's, it is what it is, man. But I think that the Braves match up better against the Giants than we do the Dodgers, and it might be just a little bit of a psychological thing just from last year. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's where we are with that one.
Okay, jumping back into the NBA real quick.
Okay.
Ben Simmons just showed up out of nowhere. People said they didn't know he was coming. He didn't speak to anyone last night. He just sort of showed up in the arena, took his COVID test, and then left. So how do you see this Ben Simmons saga ending? And do you think that he could just go ahead on and finish out his career in Philly? Can him and Embiid coexist? Not only from a personnel standpoint, but also a basketball standpoint.
That's a quick answer. No, he will not. Those two, they're not going to be able to coexist, and I don't think he's going to finish out anything in Philly. I think the reason that he kind of showed up this time is obviously, them. It's just like with them guys, man. Them checks ain't coming in, man. They're like, all right, cool. I got to show up and get my money. But I think it's also I think maybe old Morey kind of coerced him to come back because again, they're still asking for a premium return for this guy. You know what I'm saying? And the last time we saw him, he was passing up, basically a wide open dunk to pass it to a guy that missed it, or I think they blew the layup or whatever. So I think they're going to try to showcase him a little bit early on, and I still believe he's going to get dealt, and they're going to try and show that, maybe he's improved his shooting in the offseason. I doubt it, but, they're going to try and show that, hey, man, this guy can shoot a little bit. He can, command the floor, but for him and Embiid to get along, that's just not going to happen, man. It's kind of like that. It's almost like, and this is very stretched, it's kind of like a Shaq and Kobe type. You know what I'm saying? Guys just couldn't get along, but that was a little bit different because you had two superstars and they were actually winning championships, man. So I just don't see a way where Ben Simmons finishes the season in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? I see him being dealt probably the first month of the season. You know what I'm saying? Just after they kind of showcase him a little bit, just to, and if he has improved, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe they can justify some of that premium return they're trying to get from these teams. So I know we talked about him.
I don't think he's gotten any better. I think he's a player because I don't think he has anybody to hold him accountable yet. He's spoiled. I think he's one of those guys that just naturally just very talented in basketball. He likes, the things that basketball brings him, the cars, I know he's with one of the Jenner girls, I believe, or something like that. So, he loves all that, but I don't think he's a guy that lives, eats, and sleeps basketball like KD. Yep. That's like what he does. Yep. Even Harden, for all his faults, he's a hooper at heart.
Oh, yeah.
Steph Curry, he's a hooper. Those cats are hoopers. Ben Simmons, to me, if he wasn't in the NBA, he'd be the 6'10" guy at your job that you'd be going, hey, man, you want to join the job team? And he'd be like, nah, I'm good. I don't even really that. So that's who he is.
That's another team, man, we can sit back and look at, bad drafted, man. Think about all the first round, lottery picks that these guys wasted on. Was it Okafor, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz? There's one other guy in there somewhere too. What's his name? Yep, there you go. So I mean, that's four guys that just ain't panned out, man. Like where would you be if you had put a Jason Tatum in Philadelphia with Embiid? You know what I'm saying? Put a guy, just man. It amazes me that these guys get paid millions of dollars to scout and draft and make as many bad decisions as they do, man. So, it is what it is, man. So here we go, man. This is one that had a lot of hype over the weekend, man. And what, in your opinion, was Wilder Fury 3 all that it was hyped up to be? And is Wilder done? And if he's not, do we see a Wilder Fury 4?
Wilder Fury. I almost went to that fight.
Was this the same time you was just remembering that the Bears were playing the Raiders in Vegas?
Yes. What are you? What?
Hey man, I thought y'all were playing Monday night, man. That's what I said, man.
So after I won that battle, I was like, hey, guess what? Because we went to dinner at the Stratosphere, up there at the top, the overlook thing. I was like, there's a fight tonight. Don't even think about it. I was like, okay, fair enough. But do I think that it lived up to the hype? Yes. Because one thing about it, those dudes both went out there, man, and they fought. We're used to the Floyd Mayweather big fights where you get out there and you see pity pat, for 8-9 rounds. It's a point thing, and it's like, okay, this dude is definitely going to win, but So I definitely got my money's worth, when I got a chance to watch the replay. They definitely went out and fought. Very good fight. There won't be a par 4. I think Wilder, that fight, I think broke him. I think he was exposed like I thought it was going to happen to him, to where he's just a one-punch guy. That's hell of a one punch. I couldn't take it. He's hell of a one guy. But Fury is a bad matchup for him because Fury, I don't know how you can be a boxer, work as hard as you do on your body, and look the way he looks. But
he looks like a sack of laundry.
Right. But he actually has boxing skills. He actually can think while he's in the ring. And I don't think Wilder can do that. You saw he started out, it looked like, he was going to do the jab thing, which I thought, okay, Fury, as heavy as he is, just jab him. If you got to beat him on points, you can. You can work him. jab. Then the deeper the fight goes, that way to come against him. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But third round, he went back to, like I said, when we first started talking about him 4 or 5 years ago. This dude fight like somebody in the club on Saturday night, fully Hennessy. Somebody girl on ass. That's the way he fights, right? And he went back to that. And honestly, I think he's done. Now what's crazy is I think Fury might be done too. Because he's the type of guy, I think maybe one more fight and I could see him walking away.
Yeah.
Which would give Wilder a chance maybe to slide back in there, because heavyweight ranks right now is pretty weak. Yeah. But I don't think we'll see a part 4, and I'm gonna go 50-50 on Wilder being done and finished.
Okay.
Now that ends our questions, correct?
Yep. Like I say, I had the one extra one. Like I said, if you wanted to answer it,
we'll get into that. But before that one from Frank, we'll get into real quick, right?
All right.
Still be on the clock, but we'll just talk about it real quick. Franklin X basically is 14 extra points missed this week. So does now the NFL start to put a premium on kickers? Do you see teams maybe drafting kickers early? Nothing crazy, first, second, third round, but maybe do we start seeing kickers go, earlier on the second day? Will there be a more premium put on that position? And the NFL does a lot of things wrong, but I think when they move that extra point back, one of the best decisions they've made in a long time. Because remember, extra point, you would get up and walk out.
Yep.
Time to go to the bathroom, time to go get a beer, time to whatever. Yep. Now, extra points, you sitting there like, are we gonna make this?
Oh yeah.
This? So do you think that the trend, and especially what we saw this weekend, or was that just an aberration? Or do you think it'll be a more premium put on that?
I think, man, it's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously we know that Crosby's a pretty good kicker. You know what I'm saying? He's obviously shown over the years, and even the best guys, can miss that. What is it? I think it's like a 30-yard extra point. I think is what it equals out to from where they kick from. But you got guys that like a Justin Tucker and people like that even miss them. You know what I'm saying? But I think that you're going to start seeing a little bit more emphasis put on it, kind of like special teams play. That coach or that aspect of the game was kind of lost, in the college game for sure. And then obviously it translated into the NFL where you had guys just kind of running back kicks all the time and, just kind of, bad play out there. So I think you're going to start seeing a little bit more emphasis put on that. And, the crazy thing about kickers is, man, there's only 32 of them. You know what I'm saying? There's no, usually maybe your punters, your emergency kicker in a pinch, but there's only 32 of them, man. And I think you're going to start seeing guys, start losing them jobs a little bit more, and they're going to start bringing more guys in to do that. But I just don't see right now, unless you just got a guy like Janikowski, I think who obviously the Rangers picked in the first round. But again, it worked out for him, man, because that guy could, bang him from 60 yards, no questions asked, man. So, that those kind of things become weapons, you know what I'm saying? But I still think you're going to kind of see those guys be drafted, second day, late second day, or just kind of picked up off the waiver wire, man, because there's just, while you got there's a lot of, there's a lot to go with it. I mean, you're talking 1 point here and there. And I mean, at the end of the day, man, if you get a team they just don't care anymore, they're just going to line it up at the 2 and just run in. So, I mean, if I'm Tennessee and I got Derrick Henry, I don't kick an extra point. I pull a Dallas Carter from Friday Night Lights, and I don't punt and I don't kick. I just run the ball in every time. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, it's 6 feet. I got a 230-pound running back, and I can't get 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? I'm Lamar Jackson. Now, granted, Justin Tucker's a little bit better. I'm Lamar Jackson. I'm just going to run a sprint out and just try to beat you to the corner. You know what I'm saying? So I think if you go that way, I think a lot of teams might just start trying to go for 2 if they get a bad kicker. But I agree with you, man. That's probably one of the best things that I think the NFL did. Now, I don't like the fact that they kind of, move the kickoff forward, because it kind of takes away from that dynamic return game of a Devin Hester, Dante Hall, guys like that could just, change a game on kickoffs or even punch. You know what I'm saying? So, but the extra point, man, I think was a good move back. But to answer the question, I don't think you're going to see teams drafting kickers in the early rounds unless it's just a straight up game changer. And this guy's banging 65-yard field goals in college consistently.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Leon Woodard agrees with you. Feels like it's anomaly, and he also thinks that Fury is going to fight Joshua, but I believe Joshua, didn't he just lose? So I think that's why I don't think there's really a fight out there.
Yeah.
All right. Before we leave, I believe, let me put a couple minutes here on the clock. And
Okay.
I believe you had a question as far as old John Gruden.
Yeah, man. You know, like you know me, P. I'm always about, you know, not stirring up controversy, but you know, we'll hit all the topics here, man. So, you know, the question is, man, it's kind of a 3-part question, but it's pretty quick. Are you surprised by John Gruden's remarks? And is it a shocker that he resigned or fired? And in your opinion, is there a statute of limitation on offensive remarks?
To answer your first question, my shock, no. Well, before I get into it, I like to think that, you know, I was at his retirement game, and I think the Bears retired him. So, you know. I'm surprised? Nah. I'm not surprised in anything that these dudes do, you know, that they've been doing their entire life. Was I surprised that he stepped down? No. When, you know, I was watching an interview, I'm trying to believe, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. So I want to say it was Saturday. Me and the wife were getting ready to go out to dinner, and we're watching him one of those days, and he was explaining what he said about DeMaurice Smith, and his lips look like the Michelin Man. And he starts saying how he associates that with being a liar. Now I'm like, I done been all around the world a couple of times, being in the military, you know, open to a whole lot of cultures, you know, and pretty much the slang of everyone. And I'm like, Alabama, Chicago, New York, California, I've never heard that damn phrase being used that way. And then when he hit with the classic, everybody knows that's not me. I don't have a racist bone in my body. I was like, well, here it comes, because that's all that's not me. Then who the hell was it?
Yep.
Is there statute of limitations? I don't believe so. I really don't, because especially if you're talking about we're all grown. You know, when Gruden did this, it's different than, you know, maybe, you know, a 14-year-old is on Twitter. You know, he's saying stupid things on Twitter. Now he's 24, 25, and somebody goes back and grabs these tweets. What this individual is 14, 15 years old. Okay? Even at that age, I believe your mind is sort of set, but you're not mature enough. Okay, now am I going to forgive you for saying something outlandish? No, but I will sort of take into your adolescence into account in the situation, right? John Gruden is an old ass dude. He was in a group chat with a bunch of like-minded people, because as someone said, we're all in different chats and things like that. You don't put anything in a chat that you think anybody else would deem inappropriate that you aren't comfortable putting in there, right? You're not just gonna walk into a chat first day in the chat. Hey, William, how you doing? Hey, man, my name is Mac, and got a joke for you, right? You're not gonna do that.
Yep.
You're gonna do things once you feel comfortable. So no. Now I'm just waiting for the rest of the emails to come out to see who else was in there, see who else was partaking in this. John Gruden just needs to disappear. Anybody knows me, I've never been a Gruden fan. I've always thought he was a fraud. I always got tired of his stick on TV. I get tired of double sluggo and go. To me, he's always been an average coach that won one Super Bowl with somebody else's players.
Yep.
Nothing more, nothing less. But his mentality is everything is still wrong. And people said, you know, and it's a damn shame, but when he offended the black guy, it was, hey, we'll let him apologize. Nothing was really done. But hey, you say something against that LGBTQSRXYW community, and
That's
you're
just
out of it.
yep.
You're out of there. You can still call somebody the N word and get away with it, but you
Yep.
call somebody an F word,
Oh man.
you're in trouble. And,
Cancel Christmas.
and unfortunately, he just proved that as much as we continue to move forward, we still got a long way to go.
Absolutely. So, my thing on that, man, is kind of like, I'll say that I don't think there's a statute of limitations either. I think people make bad decisions, you know what I'm saying, depending on how you want to categorize it or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, it's got to be some accountability for it. You know what I'm saying? Um, because we're trying to move forward and we're trying to have, equality and things like that, man. So, I don't think that you just as a 40 something, 50 something, however old he is, man, this was what, 10 years ago or whatever it was, he said X. But it's not like he just said the one thing at 10 years ago. There was countless emails, you know what I'm saying? I think that I really believe, and I'm not saying that it's right, but had it just been the one derogatory remark towards Mo Smith, I think there would have been a heavy ass fine, maybe some sort of public apology, blah blah blah, and things would have kind of went on as business as usual. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, once you kind of raw alphabet soup into it, and just the consistency of it, you know what I'm saying? The egregiousness of it, I think that was just obviously his ultimate downfall right there. Because I think you can, I hate using the word get away with, but I think you can survive, you know what I'm saying, one instance, you know what I'm saying? It's like I said in the group, man, is, hey man, if you gonna do anything and you think you said something offensive, just come out straight up and say, hey man, when I was such and such years old, man, I probably said an offensive word to somebody, man. So let's go ahead and just beat me up now, or don't give me the job. But don't come at me, 10 years from now talking about, hey man, when you was 22, you said this. You know what I'm saying? So like, we got to kind of, I think if you just kind of bring that stuff to light at first, man, and just say, hey man, I'm a human being, I fucked up. And that's the best word I can use, you know what I'm saying? And just own that. Because we've all done something dumb. You know what I'm saying? We've all said something that we probably regret, whether it's, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure we've all called somebody the F word at some point, or, some you know what I'm getting at, man. Like, but I think that if we own that, man, I think people are a lot more forgiving, if that's the right word to use, than they are after it comes out, and then you're trying to kind of backtrack yourself and say, oh man, that's not me. You know what I'm saying? But again, it really is you, because you continuously did it. It wasn't like you
Right.
did, you know what I'm saying? You said this in 2010, in 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you were just still going in, man. So I mean, that right there lets me know that, maybe you got Michelin lips because you're a liar. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm at with that, man. And so I think that obviously the Raiders, they had to do what they had to do. And I think some people say that the reason it took so long is, I believe, man, that them guys had to make sure that they had the just cause and the wording was right. So that way them guys ain't on the hook for another 80, 70, 80 million dollars. You know what I'm saying? Because in the day, that's a lot of money to be paying a guy that's not coaching your football team and made some bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that was one of the reasons. And, the other one, they was probably going to try to sweep it under the rug until all the other things came to light, man. But that's just my take on it.
All right. Well, my man, it's been great.
Oh
Another
yeah,
good show. And
absolutely.
I see you next Tuesday. No telling what the hell's gonna happen in between now and then.
Absolutely. Hey, so next Tuesday, man, I'm gonna be out in Maryland next Tuesday, man. I gotta go TDY out there, so I'll still be able to get on same time we doing. You know what I'm saying? Just yeah, you know what I'm saying. So obviously we'll have a good show, man. And like I say, if you can download this one, man, and just send it to me so that way I can upload it to the YouTube channel, man. So obviously people that's either not on here, or when the time runs out on here, they can still check over there and get those and get these views in, man. And maybe FS1 or ESPN, when they start clearing out more of that trash, they'll call us up. You know what I'm saying?
All right, man.
All right, P, I'll holler at you, man.
All right, y'all be easy.
Later.